We have a variety of cars, and sometimes the devs like to add cars that were made quite some time ago. So I thought it would be fun to rank them all from worst to best. I'll include any vehicles that were created before 1990. And this ranking won't be purely based on stats. I will also factor in the looks and how I personally feel about the vehicle overall. So it's subjective, and feel free to leave your own opinion in the comments. Also tell me if there's some vehicles that you think I should have included. Without further delay, let's get started. In last place we have the Sloop. I'm counting it here because it's a pirate ship created hundreds of years ago. Now this is a funny meme vehicle, but in terms of gameplay it's one of the most useless vehicles. It costs $1 million and it's a big waste of money since the stats are really poor, and it's not an effective escape vehicle from the oil rig or the power plant because it's so bulky and so slow. Therefore it's not really useful in any capacity. It is funny, but it doesn't provide much else. Then we have the Ray. This is one of the most forgotten vehicles in Jailbreak and one of the least used in the entire game, and that's just because the stats aren't very good and it's at a pretty poor spawn point, so most players simply don't know about it. I've never had any inclination to use this vehicle, and I don't really consider it useful at all since it is so far away and there's better stuff you can buy for the price. And the biggest sin of all, my legs stick out of the bottom. Then there's the Mustang. Since it spawned at the gun store, many players use this as an initial vehicle to get started, but I always found the stats to be really mediocre for the price, and I elected to go with the Mini Cooper, which had better acceleration. It does look okay for the standards of the time, which I do appreciate, but the stats were pretty poor, so I did not use it when it was available, and I certainly have not used it at all since it got retired, except for recording videos. Then to follow that up, we have the pickup truck. This is one of the most beloved and most used vehicles in the game since it is one of the first ones that people buy, but I have never been a big fan of it, and I think it's honestly not the best vehicle to purchase when you're starting. The Jeep is free, it seats the same amount of people, and it's faster. And you can save up just a little bit more and buy the Tesla, which has much better abilities. Therefore, while it does look cute, I've never been too big of a fan of the pickup. After that, we've got the camper van. This is an okay team vehicle. I like the look of it a lot, and it does seat 6 people, but the stats are really poor and the spawn point isn't the best. Any player can spawn it if they have it purchased already, but I don't think it's worth it. I think it's much better to just save up a little bit more and buy the Cybertruck. The launch is the big thing that holds this vehicle back. The launch is really bad and worse than the Camaro. It also has pretty poor acceleration, but it does have an okay top speed, but you're likely not going to hit it. Using this vehicle is often going to be a detriment to your gameplay because it is so slow. Then we've got the Agent. This was the second ever community created vehicle to get added to the game, and I had a lot of fun with it, but it hasn't held up the best and I don't really use it. I like that it bursts off really quickly, but the top speed is rather lacking. The missiles are fun, but they're not effective at all. They're very hard to aim. So this is a fine vehicle and I'm glad I own it, but it has definitely fallen by the wayside and I don't use it anymore. Then there's the Delorean. This was one of the most requested vehicles in the entire game, and I'm glad the devs went ahead and added it, but I do find it disappointing in a few ways. I think the stats are fine, but not that impressive. I do like the overdrive feature, but this vehicle isn't great enough to motivate me to use it. It also looks pretty good, though I do think it looks quite outdated, and I don't like that my legs stick out of the bottom. I'm really disappointed that it can't actually fly. It can only drive over water, which I feel is a bit lazy and a bit of a cop-out. I don't need it to hover super high at all. I just wish it could hover just a little bit. This one just feels like wasted potential. Up next is the Deja. This is a really fun starter vehicle because it drifts super well. It's fun to just press shift and drive around and see the big trails behind you. Overall, it's a good time. Is it a good vehicle? Not really. It's decent for beginners, especially because it has an overdrive feature, but you'll quickly graduate to better things. But it is so much fun. Then there's the Lavlet. You might have to spend quite a bit of J-Bucks to get this vehicle, and it's not the most impressive when it comes to stats, but it's still good enough, and I think it's an amazing looking vehicle. Zero absolutely cooked when creating it, and I really like the feature where you can toggle it to scrape it against the pavement. I like that it actually slows down the vehicle a little bit as well. So while it might not be the most effective for gameplay if you're reaching the end of the game, it's still really fun and nice to take out for a spin every now and then. Then we have the Bandit. I've always found this to be a perfectly competent vehicle, but one of the more forgettable ones, and one that I have not elected to use too much. The stats are good, but nothing too crazy. It does have really solid launch, and it seats 3 people, which is good, but there's always stuff that I've preferred to use more. I don't have a big connection to the Bad Guys franchise. I've never read the books, and I still haven't seen the movies, so I don't have too much of an attachment to this vehicle, though I do recognize that it's perfectly competent and it looks pretty good. Up next is the classic car. This may seem like too high of a placement, but I used this vehicle quite frequently when it was around, and I quite enjoyed it for a few reasons. For one, I thought it was easily the best looking vehicle when it was added to the game, since everything was really simplistic and most of them did not have interiors. I liked the old time aesthetic of this one, and I liked that it actually had an interior somewhat. It was a really fun vehicle because it was themed around the museum, and I really like when escape vehicles are themed around their robberies. And if somebody was camping my vehicle that I bought there, the classic was always a really good escape vehicle from the museum. It wasn't good for anything else beyond that, but for its one role, it excelled quite well. I have not used it at all since it got removed, but I do definitely appreciate it, and I think it looks really cute. Then there's the Crown. This is a perfectly capable and really enjoyable vehicle, but it's not a great vehicle for gameplay, and it's not a must-buy. This is a permanent vehicle that you buy when you own every obtainable vehicle that is useful for gameplay, and once you reach that point, you're going to be buying stuff just to finish out your vehicle collection. It does have a decent launch, but the acceleration isn't the best, and other cars will easily catch up to this one, and it has a pretty steep price tag for the stats. However, this vehicle is still definitely a fun time to drive around the map, and I absolutely adore the design of it. Happy Hongo did an incredible job making this vehicle. Another thing that does hold this vehicle back is the spawn point. It spawns at the mansion, which I don't go to that often, and if I go there to get a vehicle, I would most likely get the successor. Up next is the Jeep. For a free vehicle, this is quite good. The stats are nothing crazy, but still good enough. It's slightly faster than the Camaro, and it seats 4 people. So if you're brand new to the game and you're with a few friends that also don't own anything, this is a great option for you. I also like that it has some fun features like the ability to toggle the roof, though I think it's definitely showing its age and could really use a design revamp. Then we have the Shell Classic. This is one of the most enjoyable vehicles for me to drive, and I like to use it every now and then. I really like the appearance. Ed did an excellent job creating it. It's not the best in terms of stats, sure, but it is quite fun to use and easy to control. I was pretty lucky in that I only spent 200,000 J-Bucks to get this vehicle. If I had to spend a few million like what happened with the Manta, then I probably would have placed this much lower on the list because it's obviously not good enough to warrant that much money. But for 200k, I think it is quite good and quite enjoyable. Kicking off the top 10, we have the Longhorn. It's a very competent vehicle with an amazing design. I love that there's so many wood elements. I like that you can toggle the top off and on, and it's a 4-seater, which is really good. The stats are quite impressive. However, this vehicle just doesn't jump out to me. If I want to use a 4-seater, there's other things that I'll prefer over this one, and there's other seasoned vehicles that stick out more to me. So it's not one that I like to use that much, but I definitely do quite like it. Then there's the Dune Buggy. This is one of my least used vehicles in Jailbreak, simply because for most of its time in the game, it was simply unusable. It was pretty much impossible for me to control. I know some people mastered it, but for me it was way too difficult, so I didn't even try. But recently it finally got fixed, and now it is quite good. The initial launch and acceleration is insane. This vehicle bursts off like almost nothing else. It is also incredibly hard to disable. It's hard to shoot since it's kind of small and it's easy for players to maneuver it. Plus, it seats 3 people. Now, the top speed is not good at all, but the acceleration is quite good. So this is a really solid escape vehicle. Then we have the Torero. This has some of the best launch in the game, and it has great handling. It is incredibly enjoyable to drive. I really like the appearance as well, though I do wish that the headlights could actually pop up and down. It also has a pretty good top speed, though obviously it's not the best when it comes to fast vehicles. It's still really good. I only have one nitpick with it. My legs stick out of the bottom. Following that up, we have the Wedge. This vehicle is an original creation, taking influences from many older vehicles, so that's why it's included on this list. I absolutely love the design of it. I think it looks beautiful. I love the exposed engine. In terms of stats, the acceleration isn't the best, but it does have a good top speed, and overall I do quite enjoy using this vehicle. The stats aren't the best you'll find, but they're still quite good. Then there's the Stunt Plane. This vehicle got one of the biggest glow ups in Jailbreak history, both in design and in stats. For a long time it used to be pretty bad, even slower than the Camaro, and there was no point to use it, but now it has great stats and it's a wonderful flying vehicle for a pretty cheap price. It even has some guns mounted, though I don't really like them because the vehicle shakes way too much when you're trying to use them. Overall, this is one of the best valued vehicles in the game. Then there's the helicopter. The biggest limiting factor of this vehicle is the spawn point. It's easy for cops to get to, but it's a little harder for criminals to get to it if they don't have a key card. However, it does have quite a few spawn points around the map, so it is easy to access, and for being a free vehicle, this is a good one. It seats 5 people, so it's a great vehicle for teams, and it can fly, of course. It can be caught up to pretty easily, and it is a bit big, so it's quite easy for cops to shoot it. But again, since it's free, it's quite good at what it does. Then there's the Fiasco. It was available from the gray safes for a brief period of time, and it quickly became one of the best vehicles in the game. You really didn't have to spend that much J-Bucks to get it, and it was worth every dollar. Since it's under 100k, every jailbreak player can spawn it, not just premium garage owners. This makes it an elite escape vehicle. It's really small, so it's hard for cops to shoot out or for cops to pit maneuver it, and it bursts off almost instantly. Of course, the top speed isn't that great, but for its purpose of being an escape vehicle with great acceleration, this vehicle excels. It has a really cute design too. To kick off the top 3, we have the Storm Rider. This is one of my most used vehicles in the game. Now, I absolutely love the appearance. It's basically a better looking Torero to me, and this is encapsulated by the fact that it actually has pop-up headlights, unlike the Torero. It also has some of the best launch in the entire game, which is really good and really useful for both teams. As a cop, it's great to easily catch up to criminals, and as a criminal, it's great as a quick escape vehicle. And since it's easy to maneuver, you can easily get back up to the top speed. Overall, it's an amazing one. For the penultimate classic vehicle, we have the Blackhawk. The real-life counterpart to this vehicle was initially created in 1974, so it does qualify for this ranking. It does have a steep price of $1 million J-Bucks, but it is worth every penny. It seats 8 people, 9 if you include the rope, so it is a fantastic team vehicle. It has fantastic stats, and it actually has multiple spawn points. The biggest thing holding this vehicle back is the size. I think it should get a little bit more health since it is a military vehicle and it should have some kind of armor, but it's very easy to shoot down this vehicle, especially because it's so big. It's also very good for the criminal team, but not that great for the cop team. However, it is still quite useful and very good, which is why I'm ranking it second. But in first place, we have the concept car. And yes, it does qualify because the concept is based off of the Ferrari Modulo. This is my favorite vehicle in the game because as a guy that plays with multiple people quite frequently, I really like having a spawnable, quick vehicle that can accommodate my group. It blends together great launch, acceleration, and top speed, which is why I quite like it. It does have some flaws like the handling not being the best, but the other stats being great and its ability to seat 4 people make up for it. I also love the look of this one. It's cool enough in appearance to justify the high price, and it's really fun and thrilling to drive it around, especially when the trail is coming out behind it. That's why I think it's the best classic car in the entire game. But that will conclude my ranking of all the classic vehicles in Jailbreak. What do you think? Which ones are your favorites and least favorites? Comment your thoughts down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe and leave your suggestions for future videos. Make sure to join my Roblox group, join my Discord, use code YouTube NoobFreak at any Jailbreak ATM to get my tires, and have a great day or night. See you later.